Hello everybody, this is Metalphase, and here we have a replay of Theoman playing the 15th Scottish Division on Maverick income to our right side, and ZZ playing as the Lehr on Vanguard income. And we're on, I think, this is Orsha North, I believe? I'm not sure. But very interesting choice on the Maverick income for these 15 Scottish, because of all the allied divisions from the Western Front, the 15 Scottish is really the slowest one to really deploy. The Churchills are seriously slow. Let's take a look at the speed. 30 kilometers an hour, so they take a while to get there. The Humbers and the light vehicles, they are fast and they're pretty capable units, but I don't know if I would be risking the game and especially the income on those units getting it done. And really, the 15 Scottish, to me, really shine from the fact that they have so much rifle spam. Especially, well, this is an older patch, so they haven't been buffed yet. But recently, they've been buffed to have even more availability in each of the phases now, compared to this patch from this replay. So, to me, I think that the 15 Scottish are kind of a mediocre division, and they play best when they're balanced. And those Churchills are really slow, but they have such amazing armor, frontal armor, and so it's kind of a division built to outlast your opponent. Whereas for the Lehr, they're a really forgiving division to play as, or rather, they're so customizable. You can play them as balanced, you can play them as Vanguard or Maverick. It doesn't really matter, because it's a really great division. So we're going to take a look at the deployments for each of the players. So for Theoman, a couple rifles, 2 Humbers, motorized rifle squads, and one Churchill 4, one Churchill 5. Let's take a look. I forget. So one has the APCR 57mm cannon, and the one is the assault gun variant with the 95mm HE shell. And we'll see them deployed just behind the tree lines from the above the ridge line. Just very interested to see where the Churchills go. Well, first of all, okay, the Daimlers, or the Humbers, I believe, was it? The Humbers are going to be moving up along the road. Churchills just kind of deploying behind them, perhaps to get an early shot on an AT gun to the deployed along the road, which doesn't seem to be the case here, as ZZ is bringing in some SPW 234/1s, some Pioneer squads, inside half-tracks, more Pioneer squads, Panzer Grenadier with the Panzerfaust and the Panzer Grenadier Führer. And yeah, looks like they're gonna make an early play for the southern town here, while maintaining a small force to the southern side. So it looks like the Panzer Grenadiers and the Führer will be there towards the city, and the Pioneer squads will be split between the two. And the SPWs, one for each. So very even force between the two objectives. Just above it, we have some rifles and engineer leaders, as well as a 6-pounder. So very light deployment to the mid, and it's not going to be very great for Theoman because of these SPWs and the Pioneers with the half tracks. So I'm not really optimistic about this deployment, although obviously he has no way of knowing this ahead of the. He has no way of foreseeing this, so. But could be it could be really bad for him in the mid, especially now. We also have some IG-18s and Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers, seems like a lot of Panzer Grenadiers with the leader and a Jagdpanzer 4. So really heavy deployment to the mid, and it seems like this could be a really early onslaught from ZZ. And above them, they have a much lighter force of Panzer Grenadiers, Pioneers, and Panzer Grenadiers that are going to be meeting the main force for Theoman, consisting of the Churchill 4, the Churchill 5, some Humbers, a Daimler armored car, motorized rifles, engineered leader, and rifles, as well as a 6-pounder and a rifle squad on the ridge. So without further ado, let's start the game and see how this develops. And let's actually speed things up here, since we know the deployments in advance. And it seems like one Pioneer squad got lost in the initial orders. The motorized rifles are in fact the transport, the CMP, doesn't have a very fast top speed. It's only 80 kilometers an hour compared to the I believe the 90 kilometers an hour of the Opel Blitz. Yeah. So already the Germans are going to have the upper advantage in the town here by arriving there much quicker, and one rifle squad is going to go down, and I imagine the second one will go down to the Panzer Grenadiers and the SPWs. So that's already a commanding, or rather a very substantial hold onto the city here, as I'm going to guess both points will go down very easily. And in fact, a couple of Pioneer squads have been deployed, or rather maybe even it looks like they've been diverted from the south to really capitalize on his early advantage here. Because even the point here, which whose infantry squad I believe was shot down here, yeah, didn't make it to hold that point. So now we have 2 other points, as well as the 3 points here that is giving ZZ a much larger lead. And this northern push from Theoman can't come fast enough to relieve the pressure, because there's nothing to meet this absurd amount of force here. Even the IG-18s are moving up, and the 6-pounder could go down as already unless another shot. Yeah, it doesn't seem like another shot will come in, but the Hummer 3s are coming in to bring some fire support. But the damage is already done, and the infantry are already flooding in through the other side of the forest, or sorry, the city, away from the line of sight of the Humbers. Although we have some fighter bombers. Let's see, that was a Typhoon Mark 1B, providing some support, but it's not enough to pin down the entire front troops. And to the north, Theoman has not been very aggressive. In fact, he's stopped his advance of Churchills, while also bringing up a couple more of rifles. And I don't know, I guess he's kind of stunned right now because, well, he's bringing a couple more rifles to fill in the front line there. But his main priority should be to really meet head-on with this advance to the mid, as that's really draining all of the points right now, and provides some relief with the Churchills that he already has here, because these have the 90mm frontal armor. Okay, that's not great, but the Churchill 4, okay, so these are not the 150mm ones. Okay, but that's they're still not bad tanks, and with the 57mm gun, they do have a really great rate of fires, so it's not like a Yak Panzer IV is an immediate death sentence to the Churchill. Compare that to the 40mm AP shell. It's almost as if it's like an autocannon. As Theoman's going to be chasing the SPW 223 or 234. And to the mid, looks like the Pioneers and the Panzer Grenadiers are just going to start roaming through the forest, clearing the forests of any infantry. And we have an ABRE going up against a Yak Panzer, and I think we know who wins that battle. Although 90 millimeters of penetration is still a lot for even a Yak Panzer IV. And still, these Churchills are not being given any orders. And he's being met with quite a lot of Panzer IIIs here. And it seems like the Humbers have retreated here. And they're retreating because they don't have the amount of firepower to match the amount of vehicles here, but he has the firepower. They just haven't been brought up. So I wonder why these Churchills are not being brought up right now. But at the very least, we do have a Churchill 5 on its own, actually. Some rifle squads are finally coming in here, but it's a very lonely Churchill, and it's very fortunate that there isn't any Panzer. Oh well, here comes the Panzerfaust equipped squad, and yeah, Theoman has to get out of there very soon. And to the south, it seems like Theoman was going for a play to try to lessen the bleed of tickets by moving up his forces in the forest here, but they're going to get spotted by the SPW, or at least it would be if the turret wasn't stuck. So at the very least, he does manage to climb back to 15.9, which is not as bad. It still gives him 11 minutes to work with. Meanwhile, I don't know why he's not bringing up the most valuable assets he has as the 15 Scots. Literally, the most valuable aspect of the 15 Scots are the Churchills, and perhaps even the artillery slash air. I believe the air is pretty decent. The air tab is pretty decent, but these Panzer IIIs are killing off the Humbers, and now we finally see the Churchills being brought up on a fast move order, unfortunately, and they will be firing on the move. We'll pay attention to that for a little bit later, as the Churchills are very slow in any case. But the motorized rifles with the Piet squads might get the Yak Panzer kill if they could actually hit their target. This will be really exciting to watch here, as the slow-moving projectile finally kills it with the second-to-last shell there. They're going to get picked off if they don't retreat, which they do retreat finally. And good on Theoman on advancing his Churchill immediately after that, as the threat has been neutralized to the south. And all he really needs is to move up his rifle squads and maybe add in a couple more if he has them available, which it's kind of a bit of a luxury to have extra units to bring on in offensives to the south. So I'm not really expecting too much action to the south, even despite the fact that he has the situational advantage here. Yeah, he's just losing out everywhere else here, as Churchill 4 could get taken out here. Panzer IIIs, oh, these are the 50mm cannon ones, so they don't have the 150mm penetration of the long-barreled Panzer III ends. So this Churchill might be safe enough from this engagement. Although there is a Panther D, and that will surely, and a Yak Panzer IV. This could be enough from ZZ to secure the tank engagement here. And with an engagement between the rifles and the Panzer Grenadiers seem to have won that engagement, as the rifle squads are very, very weak units with the not so great Bren gun, but they do have decent accuracy. I believe it's on par with the LMG. It's just that they only have one of them, and it's not as good as MG42, of course. But at the very least, he gets the somewhat of a hold on the edge of the forest here. His best bet, I guess, now is to try to bring up the Churchill, maybe? Or even, well, I mean, he only has that one Churchill there. and it's unfortunately not an infantry support one, or rather it is an infantry support one. Well, they're all infantry support, but it doesn't have the anti-tank, or rather they don't have the armor penetration rounds, so it's going to take a while to finish off these light vehicles from the Churchill there. I mean, look at that damage to the SDK FZ. Almost nothing there. And it's going to take a while before we see a kill from the Churchill. And yeah, the two Churchills that were here were probably taken out by the combination of the Yak Panzer IV and the Panther D. And there isn't really much. I mean, this is Theoman is bringing in an off map, but he has nothing to really take advantage of a suppressed, these. If these were suppressed by the off map, he doesn't really have the amount of units to really take advantage of it. So I'm not really sure, or rather, I'm not really enthused by the purchase of this really expensive unit. Actually, it's not a cheap unit to purchase. And this is really something you want to use offensively, almost pretty much exclusively. And he's not in really a great position to use it. I mean, he has all he needs is to gain back this point here. And getting this point here, it would be like it would climb back to an 8. And it would be what's the I think it's like 14-8 would be the total count. That would be decent. I mean, good enough to keep him in the game. But right now, he only has 2 minutes, and he seems to be sacrificing a couple of rifle squads, and these will go down for sure. And no frontline tanks outside of the Churchill 5 here. Yeah, the 17-7 temporarily, as the rifles are going to take this a very easily taken spot. And all that's really left is for ZZ to take out these rifle squads, and then he can just push in with his Yak Panzers and Panzer IIIs, which he seems to be doing somewhat. We have an 18-6 advantage now. And this Typhoon Mark 1B isn't really going to change much here. Let's see, 6 damage bombs. Pretty good bombs, actually. Going for the IG-18. But misses the mark. On the off map, I haven't seen going for the point here, but again, he doesn't really have anything to fill in the front line here, so whatever pin down units is not gonna really tip the line towards Theoman's favor. So I feel like it's a bit of a wasted amount of points here in the AOC, or what is it, the off map. And Theoman does surrender after 12 minutes and 57 seconds after only capturing 5 points. And the KD is not terrible for Theoman, but certainly he lost out on a lot of important engagements. And I guess this is really a loss based on the initial deployment. I think Theoman just got really unlucky by assuming that ZZ wouldn't target the far city immediately, but in fact that was the case, and he got really punished for it, as the Lehr is pretty much the top tier division in terms of exploitation with the amount of light units and tanks they get. So not much really to say here, as this was really a game decided from the very beginning, as that one small advantage, or well, that one advantage at the very beginning was pretty much it to decide the entire game. So, and actually, even if this wouldn't have really changed much if he was unbalanced. So the income wasn't the deciding factor here either. It was just a bad, or unfortunate, not bad, because this is not a bad judgment, as you don't always expect people to go target that city immediately off the bat. But Theoman did get caught off guard in this game. Anyway, that's it for this game, and thanks for watching.